Hello, welcome to the Fat Slayer. This is the channel where you will lose weight guaranteed. My name is Vladimir Litovsky, and I want to talk today about 11 foods what you eat every day, but they shorten your life. And I just want to point out what those foods are not poisonous in any way, but they just don't help you with your health, and they actually over time, over many years, they reduce your health and they shorten your life because of their effect on your insulin level. Check my other video where I talk about how insulin affects your lifespan. But basically, some foods they cause your insulin level to spike, go high all the way up, while other foods they are don't cause your insulin to go too high, and instead they kind of nicely cause a low to medium increase in your insulin, and they last longer. Just as a comparison, just imagine a campfire. If you are throwing gasoline in a campfire, it explodes, and you have this huge energy coming off from the campfire, but it only lasts for like a few minutes, if not seconds. And on the other hand, if you throw big, nice logs of wood into the fire, it will last for many hours. And the same goes with the food. Some foods, they just have this explosion of energy in your body. They basically overtax your organs, and they create this explosion inside. And that causes many issues, and over time it creates insulin resistance, which leads to diabetes too. While other foods, they cause your insulin to go up only to like low to medium level, and they give you the satiety for many hours. So just think about drinking a cup of Coke and eating eggs and bacon. What will give you the satiety for many hours? And obviously, if you drink Coke, you will be hungry again in like 10 minutes. While if you eat eggs and bacon, you will be full for many hours to go. So that's what I'm trying to make a point in this video, is what some foods, what we eat every day, they are digested by your body very quickly. They create this high insulin spike, and they just like the gasoline in the fire, they kind of explode, and they overtax your body with this high insulin level, high sugar level, and that over time creates problems with your weight, with your diabetes too, and many other health issues. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And again, those foods are not poisonous in any way. I personally eat some of them myself every day, but I'm mindful about the effect of those foods on my body. That's why I'm trying to limit those foods in my life. I'm trying to eat them not more often than once a day, if not less. And I do not let myself to eat those foods all day long. I do not let myself to follow this red line of keeping my insulin sky high for the whole day. So that's all I'm trying to do. And please, I invite you to do your own research and find your own, make your own conclusions about those foods. So the food number one is sodas and energy and sport drinks. That's a sort of obvious answer. Basically, when you drink Coke, soda, and Pepsi and energy drinks like Gatorade, you're basically giving your body a bunch of sugar in the liquid form. And that's the worst type of food you can give your body. And for the simple reason is what sugars in the liquid form, they are very quickly digested by your body, and at the same time they do not provide any nutrition or nourishment to your body. All they do is they cause your insulin to go sky high, and all these calories, they go straight to your fat, because your body, when you give your body too much sugar, too much glucose too fast, the only option it has is to turn it into fat. It cannot use up so much energy so quickly, and that's why these foods create problems with your weight, and also they keep your insulin high, which over time causes insulin resistance or diabetes too. And again, diabetes is a serious disease. 100 million people in the United States are either diagnosed with diabetes or have a certain stage of developing diabetes. Every third person in the United States has some sort of stage of that disease, so it's a very big issue. So the food number 2 is packaged and processed foods. I'm reading off the list, that's why my eyes will go down once in a while. Basically, why did I make it number 2 in my list? Well, first of all, there are many harmful chemicals in that food. The first and most common chemical is BPA. BPA is very toxic to your body. It creates it causes a whole bunch of cancers and other negative health effects on your body. You can just Google BPA health effects and you can read all about it. It's a very bad chemical to have around. And all processed foods, they're packaged in different types of plastics, and all of these plastics, they cause BPA exposure to your body. The next reason is sugar. Obviously, all processed foods, they add sugar to them to make them more tastier, and that's why when you eat processed foods, you're exposed to sugar. Also, when they make processed foods, they take foods in their original organic whole form, and they process them, and they remove a lot of good vitamins, nutrients, fibers, things like that. So basically, processed foods, they turn good original foods into those junk foods with all of the good stuff removed. And the reason why they remove those things is because it extends the shelf life of the foods. And the final very important reason why I do not recommend to eat processed foods is because in the last century, the food industry has invented 14,000 brand new chemical compounds what they use in the processed foods. And again, those chemical compounds are not known to our bodies. Nobody knows for sure what the exact health effect of those chemicals is. And that's why when you consume processed foods, you consume those 14,000 different chemicals, and you just don't know what the final health effect would be on your body. So by staying away from processed foods, you're staying away from chemical compounds which nobody can explain how they work. So item number 2, processed foods. Item number 3 is sugar. I just decided to put it after processed foods because people eat more processed foods than sugar. But again, it's sugar doesn't give your body any nutrition, doesn't nourish your body with anything good. All it does, it provides a bunch of empty calories what your body quickly digests into glucose, and it spikes your insulin, and that insulin goes into your fat because your body cannot expand so much energy so quickly. It's like throwing gasoline into the fire. You have this huge explosion of sugar and glucose in your bloodstream, and since there is nowhere to go, then it goes into your fat. Your body cannot keep the sugar level in your bloodstream too high for too long because that can kill you. So that's why the insulin spike basically pushes all that sugar into your fat cells for storage. So the next food is high fructose corn syrup. It basically, the reason why I have it in my list is because 95% of all processed foods have this compound in them. And it's so widespread in the United States. Basically, it's in ketchups, in salad dressings, in Italian salad dressing, in pasta, bread, it's everywhere. So even in Coke and Pepsi. So that compound is present everywhere. That's why I have it in my list. And again, it has the same response to your insulin. It throws it sky high as sugar. So the item number 5 is, it will be a big surprise for most people, is all cereals, all grains, all wheats, and even whole grains, and all of those things. It was a big surprise for me to learn because I always believed the labeling, like, you know, then they sell this bread and they say it's a whole grain bread, and they kind of make these nice pictures like of green things growing and things like that, and all they're trying to imply is what it's actually healthy for you. Well, grains are not healthy for you. Well, actually, when they did studies of human development, before people started to farm grains, the average height of every person was about a foot, if not more, higher than the people who lived after them and who started to eat too many grains, putting too many grains in their diet. So people basically shrinking their height just by switching from whole other foods like meats and vegetables, and by switching to grains. Yes, grains, they allowed people to progress, to allow the civilization to happen, so nobody denies that. But again, grains are not that healthy. They do not help your body to stay healthy. So that's why I have it in my list here. I love bread, I love grain products, and I eat them every day, well, almost every day. But again, I'm mindful about that food. I do not eat it 3 times a day. I only let myself to eat one item from this entire list once a day. Well, a few items maybe together, but once a day. So that's a trick about eating those foods. If you do it once a day, you have 1 a day insulin spike, and that doesn't have a long-term effect on your body and your health. All right, so the next is, it will be very surprising. The item number 7 is farm-reared meat. What I mean is basically all the meat products that are coming from farms, what are not organic, what are not hormone-free, and what are not antibiotic-free. If you don't have these labels, one of the 3 labels explicitly stated on the packaging of the meat, then you can bet your life on what it has, what it's not organic. It has antibiotics and it has hormones in it. Only poultry and pigs do not have hormones by default. It's prohibited. So basically, by eating meats from what are coming from farms, you are exposing yourself to all of the chemicals what are feeding the animals to make them grow faster, to make them basically to prevent diseases developing in animals, things like that. So by eating meat, you're eating all of these drugs, medicines, chemicals in a concentrated form. And that's why I always tell everyone, but instead of buying a big chunk, like 5-pound chunk of this cheap meat, buy less, buy 2 pounds, don't buy 5, buy 2 pounds, but buy organic, eat less, and by eating less but organic meat, you will get more nutrients. Those big cheap chunks of meat, they have so many bad chemicals inside, and also overeating meat is just generally not that healthy for you. So it's rather to eat less, but eat right. So the next item, it's extremely it was extremely surprising to me, is farm-raised seafood, and basically it has the same, for the similar reasons as farm-raised animals. Basically, they keep those seafood farms near the rivers, and if you don't know, the rivers are the most polluted waterways in the world. For the reason is because rivers usually flow through big urban centers, or they flow through huge industrial and manufacturing facilities, and all of those things, they dump a lot of very harmful chemicals into the rivers, and then they build those farms close to those rivers. All of these sea and water creatures, they absorb chemicals inside them, and when you eat that meat, you are digesting the concentrated level of all of these bad chemicals. So again, my advice is to, instead of buying these, I used to love buying these big chunks of farm-raised salmon. Now I buy wild-caught salmon, which is twice as expensive, and since I didn't get twice richer, I just buy half as much. So for the same dollars, I just buy less but better quality meats. And again, overstuffing yourself with bad foods is not helping your health. It's better to eat less but eat good, clean foods, and that will be a better outcome for your health. So the next one will be extremely surprising to you, I promise, and that's dairy products coming from cows. It does not apply to sheep and goat and all the other dairy animals, only to cows. And for the reason is what the cows' dairy products, they have a high level of sugar. For example, when you drink 1 cup of milk, you get the same amount of sugar as drinking half a cup of soda or Pepsi, and people do not realize that cow's milk has a lot of sugar inside, and by drinking too much of it, you're exposing yourself to sugar overdose. And also the other big item is all of these fruit yogurts, especially for kids. There are just so much sugar in those yogurts. What it's better to give your kids Oreo cookies than all of these supposedly healthy yogurts. And for the reason is because there is just so much sugar, what you're basically feeding your child a candy. And since parents assume what children yogurts are healthy, they let kids drink too much, to have or eat too much of those yogurts. But in the end, you overstuffing your children with sugar. So the next item is, it will be a surprise to you again, I promise, it's out of season non-local fruits. And for the simple reason is what fruits, they lose their nutritional value very fast. And when you buy those apples or other fruits trucked in from Mexico around the world, all you get is sugar bombs. 2 big apples, what are not local, they have as much sugar as 1 can of Pepsi. So you think you're eating something healthy, but in the end you just eat a piece of sugar. So stay away from those foods and only buy organic, local, well, not organic, but locally raised fruits in season only. Stay away from not in season fruits and replace them with frozen berries. They're actually cheaper and much healthier for you. And frozen berries keep all of their nutritional value intact, so you get all these good benefits at a low price. So the next one will be again surprising, I promise, and that's sport and energy snacks and bars, things like that. People usually assume when it says sport something or energy bar or whatever, they assume that it's healthy. Well, it's not, because it's laden with sugar and chemicals. Even if they say like natural, whatever, they still have sugar. All of them have a bunch of sugar or grains or dried fruits, and all of these things, they cause your insulin to spike, to go sky high. So do not believe the healthy claims. There are none. And the final, which will be extremely surprising to everyone, is coffee in the afternoon. That's a big difference. Basically, when you drink coffee or caffeinated drinks, you are stimulating the adrenal glands in your body to produce adrenaline, which gives you that rush of energy. The only problem is what adrenal gland is just like any other organ in your body, can get fatigued. If you stimulate it all day long, if you stimulate it too much, then you overstimulate your adrenal glands, and in the end you basically cause that organ to overwork, and that causes aging, stress, and things like that. So only drink coffee in the morning. I usually drink coffee until 12, and after that I just cut it out and I drink either decaffeinated drinks or basically non-caffeine drinks at all. And finally, I wanted to point out in my cereal item, in my grains and whole grains item, the cereals, which many people assume are healthy foods, they are not. Some cereals have so much sugar but it's not even funny. It's like there are like fructose loom ones. They have 70% sugar content in the supposedly healthy for your heart cereals. Just imagine, you're not eating anything healthy. All you eat is a candy bar. There is nothing healthy about those cereals. And people eat those things by a bucketful, and then they wonder why they struggle with weight and diabetes and things like that. All right, so again, I just wanted to point out those bad foods, what many people assume are healthy for them, and eat them too much. So do your research. Do not read anything older than 2 years old, because nutritional science has evolved a lot in the last 2 years, and many things that people believed were right in the past are now considered very wrong. So only read fresh articles to research more about the things I talked about here. All right, I wish everyone great health, good luck, and I see you in my next video. All right, see you guys, take care.